So good day everyone. For our activity today for Anaphy lab, we are going to dissect a pig's heart because it is very similar to human heart and to understand more about cardiovascular system. So the first thing we need to do is to clean first and wash the pig's heart before dissecting it. So after washing our pig's heart, before starting our dissection, let us first wear our gloves and mask for proper dissecting etiquette.
As you can see on what I am showing now is the dorsal part of the heart, which is located near the body of the vertebrae. And as you can see when I flip it over, this is the ventral side of the heart, which is the front side is facing the chest. The ventral side is composed with left ventricle, the right ventricle, the left atrium, and the right atrium. We also have here the coronary blood vessels running on the surface of the heart. And on what I am showing and pointing now is the aorta, and this one is the pulmonary artery. And what I am pointing right now is a pulmonary vein, while this is the vena cava. And lastly, we have the bottom of the heart, which is called the apex. But before we start the dissection, let us know first the different names of the dissecting tools. We have the iris scissors, the mosquito forceps curve end, operation scissors, splinter tweezer forceps curve, teeth tissue forceps, iris scissors, curve tip teasing needles, straight tip teasing needles, and lastly, the scalpel. And now, the first thing we need to do is to cut the fatty tissues around the pig's heart using the iris scissors and the teeth tissue forceps. The reason why we need to cut or remove these fatty tissues up so that we wouldn't have a hard time on dissecting and cutting the pig's heart later. After cutting the fatty tissues, let's now flip it to the ventral side and start to dissect upwards. As I said, we will cut it upwards. We will start to the apex in the left ventricle side up to the left atrium. Now, after cutting to the left ventricle upward to the left atrium, we will now cut from the right side ventricle upward to the right atrium. After cutting it side by side, let us now carefully cut it in half to see what's inside the pig's heart. After completely dissecting it or cutting it in half, this is what the pig's heart looks like, which is very similar to the human's heart. And now we will discuss the different parts of it. As you can see on the internal part of the pig's heart, we have the left atrium, right atrium, the bicuspid valve, or also known as the mitral valve, the tricuspid valve, and the right ventricle. And on the other side of the dissected heart, we have the pulmonary artery, the aorta, the septum, and you can also see the blood clot coming from inside the pig's heart. And that's the different internal parts after dissecting the pig's heart.